Distinguished delegates, the Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of the Congo, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Monsieur le Président,
President of the General Assembly, Secretary General of the United Nations Organization, Heads of State and of Government, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. I would like to begin by expressing my sincerest condolences to the people and to the government of Mexico in the wake of the earthquake that was so devastating for that country. On behalf of my delegation and on my own behalf, Mr. President, I would like to express to you our sincerest congratulations upon your election to the presidency of the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly. I wish also to express my gratitude to your predecessor, Mr. Peter Thompson, to whom we pay warm tribute for the work he accomplished. To Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations Organization, I wish to reiterate my wishes for every success over the course of his term of office. I note with great interest the tremendous ambition underlying the theme of this general debate, indeed focusing on people striving for peace and a decent life for all on a sustainable planet, is a tremendous challenge that calls for a spirit of openness and of responsibility on all our parts. Mr. President, humankind is confronted with many challenges. Terrorism is spreading almost daily. No continent is immune to violence perpetrated in the name of extremism and of nationalisms. The increased tension on the Korean Peninsula could lead to nuclear conflict on an unprecedented scale. The situation in Syria and in Iraq, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the nuclear threat, crises in Afrika and elsewhere mean that there is now a moral and pressing need for peace. Peace without which nothing constructive or sustainable can be built. has always been our guiding light. Congo has always seized every opportunity to uphold the ideals of peace and of justice in Africa and across the world. It's with this in mind that on the 19th of October 2017, my country will host the 7th summit of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, as well as the high-level meeting of the follow-up mechanism of the Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for the Democratic Republic of Congo and the region. The summit will provide an opportunity to consider ways and means to come to a settlement of crises that currently afflict this part of our continent. In addition to the DRC, other countries in the Great Lakes region are confronted with crises of various kinds. I refer in particular to the Central African Republic, to Burundi, and to South Sudan. With respect to the Central African Republic, the peace process there is moving forward apace. The government and the people of Congo are unwavering in their support for the people of the Central African Republic. The implementation of the roadmap for peace and reconciliation in the Central African Republic, adopted in July 2017 under the auspices of the African Union, will give new impetus for the stabilization of Central African Republic, our kindred country. The quest for solutions to the crisis in Libya, as part of the mandate entrusted by the African Union to Congo, is moving in the right direction. The hosting on the 9th of September last in Brazzaville of the 4th meeting of the African Union High-Level Committee on Libya led to quite heartening progress. All major stakeholders in the Libyan crisis, as well as the members of the dialogue committees established by the Libyans themselves, travelled from Brazzaville during and just after the summit. A final communiqué and a roadmap were adopted following the completion of the meeting. The Commission for Inter-Libyan Dialogue has begun discussions, and these will essentially focus on the amendment of the Skirat Agreement of December 17, 2015, as well as the Inter-Libyan Conference to take place next December in Addis Ababa. From this rostrum, I wish to reiterate my country's resolve to work unstintingly for peace in Libya. It's for this reason that I call upon the international community to support Congo's efforts and initiatives striving towards a positive outcome to the crises that I've outlined. Mr. President, let there be no doubt about it. Poverty will continue to pose a persistent global challenge until such time as we break the cycle of dependency and the cycle of dramatic impacts brought about by worrying changes in our natural ecosystems. Our response must be a global one based on joined-up action. We must overcome our differences and devise means of regulation while seeking for new paradigms and for better solidarity so as to drive forward our planet's developing economies. Our global stability depends upon that. And it's in this specific context that Africa has been impacted by the drama of emigration along the shores of the Mediterranean. Likewise, forced displacement of populations towards more clement zones owing to climate change is creating tremendous distress among men, women and children, the victims of such forced displacement. This is a matter that concerns all of us. We must take deep-going action, standing shoulder to shoulder and in a spirit of mutual understanding so as to stem this exodus into the unknown and so as to save the lives of thousands of Africans. Climate change is a truly global challenge and was the subject of promising discussions during the Paris conference back in 2015. It is a matter of urgency now that the commitments undertaken then must be made good on. It falls to the collective conscience of humankind to express here and now our compassion and our solidarity with the populations that have fallen victim to the harmful consequences of climate change. I refer specifically to the devastating impact of Hurricane Irma in the Americas, flooding and landslides in Asia and in a number of African countries, particularly in Sierra Leone. Let us agree, once again, that the protection of the environment is a shared and unavoidable duty of us all. Mindful of that, my country has initiated the Blue Fund for the Congo Basin. We did that on the sidelines of the 22nd Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The Memorandum of Understanding signed in Oyo in Congo last March was the first step in the establishment of the fund. The fund seeks to provide a better standard of living to our peoples. It aims to protect the forests of the Congo Basin, which is the world's second largest green lung after the Amazon. I call upon the international community to stand side by side with Congo under this initiative that we have undertaken with a view to protecting our planet as a whole from climate change. Mr. President, a decent life for all means also protecting the health of our peoples. the proliferation of counterfeit medicines, which are substandard by nature, is increasingly a grave threat across the globe, particularly for the developing countries. This scourge is spreading in a way that recalls the carefully organized forms of trafficking that are used to finance terrorism. According to the World Health Organization, 800,000 deaths occur every year due to counterfeit medicines. Around 10% of medicines in circulation across the world are estimated to be counterfeit. In Africa and in other countries in the global south, that figure reaches 40% and even 60% in some regions. In addition to the work done by the World Health Organization, we must undertake vigorous action at the level of the United Nations General Assembly so as to elaborate a global strategy to combat this threat. We call for the unwavering commitment of all countries for unstinting focus on this issue and also for substantial financial allocations. For our part, my country has embarked on this struggle already in collaboration with the Brazzaville Foundation for Peace and for the Preservation of the Environment. Mr. President, the Republic of Congo is passing through a difficult period socially and economically owing to a drastic fall in the price of oil. Budgetary adjustments are now on the cards, and we are receiving the support of international financial institutions. Notwithstanding this dismal context, Congo continues its onwards march towards a stronger democracy. Today, more than ever before, we are building on the fruits of constructive dialogue. A new governance infrastructure has been put in place on foot of presidential, legislative, local and Senate elections. The people of our country exercise their democratic prerogatives in total freedom. Mr. President, it is possible to transform the world into a haven of peace and of prosperity. We see that on a daily basis. It now falls to us to realize that goal, leaving no one on the roadside, and I thank you.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo, for the statement just made. May I request representative to remain seated while we greet the head of state.